How do folks? Another video today. This time I want to talk about this tank and more specifically the sump underneath and the mechanics of how this fish tank runs and what runs it, what's involved, what's the maintenance like, how's the sump put together, what's in the sump, and how does the sump work. So let's have a look. Basically, I'm going to do a quick rundown of everything that's going on with this tank. So what I wanted from this tank, more than anything else, was the fact that I didn't want to have equipment in the display area. So I didn't want heaters, I didn't want pipes, things like that. I've still got that to a degree, but it's minimised. And that's one of the main benefits of having a sump, is you can hide all your equipment, as well as increasing the water volume that you've got there. But equipment wise, I've still got a little wave maker there, and that's the outlet from the sump pump. And then over here on this side we've got the two overflows, one which is partially blocked, which I probably don't need to do now, but that was part of the drama of trying to get this quietened down. Anyway, this is a quick look at the top. What we've got here is two lots of lights. These are the Aquarium Eco full spectrum lights, and they stretch the length of the tank, well, almost the length of the tank. There's a bit of a gap, but I can kind of stagger them if I want to. This canopy here, it's just a facade, so when you're looking at it from this side it looks solid, but if you go above there's nothing here. But the lights sit on top of a screen, a net screen, which is essentially to stop the fish jumping out, but I've also covered that with a bit of kind of greenhouse UPVC, just to keep the water evaporation down a bit and to keep the temperature up a bit, because it keeps it a bit warmer that way. So that's the top. Into the tank itself, we know about the fish. We've got the overflow on this side, and we've got the overflow on this side rather, and it refills back on this side. So if you look at the bottom there, these are just panels. They open up as doors, like so, or if that's too annoying for you, you can just pop them off. It's meant to be a one-handed operation, so you just grab these little clips here and it pops off. Whoop. So it just pops off, and you can move that out of the way altogether if you want to do some proper maintenance on the tank. So that gives you the view of the sump. It's a 4-foot sump. Here are the two down pipes. These come from the overflows that we've shown you up here. So the overflows there, down the back of the tank in hard plumbing, and then these last sections are soft plumbed. This is the main overflow. So this one runs on a full siphon, and I used this valve here to dial it in, just to make sure that I get it the flow rate exactly right, so that it just trickles over into this one. So if something should block this one takes over. section, and then you can see we've got the baffles here. So as I've shown you in the diagram, down, up, over into the filter floss, and this is something that I can change every week. It's just lay it on top of a bit of egg crate. Once a week when I do my water changes, grab that, scrunch it up, throw it in the bin, replace it. Then we've got several different types of sponge, going from the coarsest to the finest, straight through here, through another set of baffles. This is just my spare media storage compartment, really. It's got some bio balls in there, some alpha grog, some all kinds of stuff, some java moss here. It possibly could be a refugium, it could be, well, it's acting a little bit as a refugium, but it could be a timeout area if you wanted to quarantine some fish. Not necessarily quarantine as in for parasites and things like that, but if a fish was getting picked on, for instance, you could stick him in here just to give him a bit of respite. But it's really, one of the beauties of the sump is you choose what you want to happen there. Next section is biological media. So through here. This is purely biohome media. I'll show you up here probably. You can have a link to a video about biohome. A final section which I'm using for heaters, but maybe you want to put some reactors in there, or if it was a marine tank it might be your skimmer. Again, I've got a bit of polycarbonate material on top acting as a lid, just purely to keep the condensation down a little bit, and overflows into the last section where I've got my pump. This is a 5,000 litre an hour pump, which is probably a bit too much power for what we actually need it to do. So I've plumbed in a T-piece here with another valve, where I can tune how much water I want to return at once, and the excess flows back into the sump here. So if I wanted to drain the tank for whatever reason, or take the water level down a little bit but keep the water running through the media, I could just turn the entirety into this closed loop here and keep the water circulating through all the media, which would keep everything healthy and keep everything happy. That is essentially it for the sump. Again, I've got a light which I just run up here, set to a timer, and on the back plate is just a surge protected power strip where I've got things like the wave maker, control panel, I've got the timers for the lights, I've got all my power connections for the pumps and thermometers and auto top off and all that kind of stuff. Attached to the roof of the sump compartment is my Elitech STC1000 heating controller. Again, another link up here somewhere which will take you to a video on how to build your own version of that. And the only thing that we've not talked about is this thing here, which is my auto top off. So what you've got is effectively a little float switch down there that when the water level gets too low it turns on, and this here is connected to a pump in this chamber here, which is the auto top off chamber, which is, I think it's something like 150 litres of a separate tank there, which has got a little pump in it which is constantly topping this up. And that, as they say, is that. It's quite large. I was hoping that I would get some kind of storage out of it, but it's entirely taken up by sump. But the beauty of it is it adds a massive amount of water volume to here and gives me a place to hide all my equipment, and runs pretty damn quiet. So that was it. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how the sump runs, how I've set it up. Sumps, again, they provide a great place to add medication and to add things like, I've got my fertiliser down there for my plants, so as you're not overloading the water columns where the fish actually are. If you can hear any gurgles at the moment, that's just because I'm in the middle of doing some maintenance. It normally runs silently. But yeah, that is Sump 101. I want to know what you want to know about sumps, what I've not covered, any kind of information. Are there any questions you've got about this tank, how it runs, how did I get it, what did I specify, all that kind of stuff? Let me know in the comments, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye bye.